Hey, welcome to Let It Be. I'm Vanessa, and this is my little corner of music YouTube. Today, I'm going to go over my top 25 favorite songs of the year 1980, as determined by me earlier this year when I made the list of my favorite albums as well as my favorite songs. There will be a lot more songs here showcased by different artists that I didn't mention in my albums video, so I think that brings to the forefront a little more of the variety of the year. Of course, there will be some representation for the albums that I had on that list as well, but I think that this just opens up the playing field a little bit more. So when making this list, it was a bit of a struggle. There are a lot of great songs this year, as there are in a lot of years. But I think that there were some really particularly strong things here and songs here, and I really wanted to get a lot on my list that I didn't quite have room for. So I'm going to give five honorable mentions at the end here, or at the beginning here. Uh, all of these will be from artists that weren't represented in my albums list. So here they are. The Glow of Love by Change, featuring vocals from Luther Vandross. Elstree by The Buggles. The Radio Cries It's Singles Time by Crack the Sky. You Make My Dreams by Hall and Oates. And Hell is for Children by Pat Benatar. Also, all just missing the list of top 25 songs. So starting at number 25 is probably one of my newer discoveries from the dive as a song, and one that really hit me closer to the time that I was making the list, because I just watched the documentary about this band just before I was making the list, and that is When I'm With You by Sparks. It's just a very infectious, just I don't know, soaring song. You really get into it. And once it sticks with you, it sticks in your head and you can't get it out of your head. And it's just a lovely pop song. They wrote quite a few in the 80s. I don't know that I ever go too high on any of the albums from that era, but they always have some really great standout songs. So this is the one from the 1980 album. Number 24 is Covenant Woman by Bob Dylan in his very divisive Christian period. I really like Saved. I think it's a really good album, and it was in that four-star range just outside of my top 25. But this song is just beautiful. I think the band sounds great on this song. There's some great guitar playing and some great organ solos throughout it. And I think Bob gives a really lovely performance. Like, I know his voice is very divisive among people. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I think he does a really good job with this song. And I know that the subject matter, it can be tough for some people to look past, and or I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but I just think it's a lovely song. It's very heartfelt and very beautiful, so makes my list. Number 23 is Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime by the Corgis, and this is a song I've known for quite some time. But I do think that the first version I heard of it actually was by Beck when he covered it back sometime in the 2000s. That put the song on my radar originally. And then I went back and found the original, and it's just got this sort of different sound to it for the time. It's very atmospheric, and leaning into that synth pop era, but it's got a different quality, and the vocals on it are kind of different from the time too. And it's very, very captivating song. And yeah, it's just a nice listen. Number 22 is one that no doubt was raised eyebrows that the album was not on my list, but this Back in Black by AC/DC is just one of those albums that I can acknowledge its greatness, and it is really good, but I just don't ever need to hear it again. And I don't think I'm going to personally put it on anytime soon. But this song is undeniable, even when it comes on the radio, like pretty regularly, even now. I still like, yeah, Back in Black. It's just a great rock song, just gets you amped up, and it's great to play at parties. And well, the whole album is really, but yeah, Back in Black is my favorite on the album. And number 21 is Ah Leah by Donnie Iris. Just a wonderful, infectious sort of power pop song, pop rock song. And it's irresistible. It's just got a I don't know. There's something about it that I really love, and every time it's on, I'm just jamming. So that had to make the list. Number 20 is by Pretenders and Lovers of Today, which was the song that really stood out for me the first time I heard that album, and every time I hear that album now. It's closer to the end of the album, and it's in that stretch that I mentioned in my albums video that just really elevates the album for me. I just love that last leg of the album, even if the whole album is great. And it's just got this great build to it, and it builds up to the end of the song in just such a satisfying way. And Chrissy sounds awesome and the band sounds awesome. And yeah, just love Lovers of Today. Number 19 is by Roxy Music and Same Old Scene. It was hard to pick a favorite from this album. There's a lot of standout songs on here, some just great pop songs. And Brian Ferry really sounds great doing this style. And I just really get captivated by his vocal performance. And this is just the song that I ended up picking. There's, like I said, there's a few I could have picked, but this one is the one that kept standing out to me when I heard it on my playlist. And yeah, I just, Same Old Scene. Great song. Number 18 is by Utopia, and it's You Make Me Crazy, which I know a lot of people pick Caravan from this album, and Caravan's great. But this is just got this charm. Like it should be a new wave staple. When you listen back to the time, it feels like a song that should be more popular than it is. It feels like one that people should remember. And I know it had a music video. I don't know if it ended up getting played much on MTV or if it just kind of missed that threshold or whatever, but I just think it's a great pop song and one that gets stuck in my head all the time. And at one point, my streaming service title decided that it was one of my favorite songs and just kept spitting it out to me. So I heard it a lot, but I never complained. I was always happy to hear it. So yeah, it's just a kind of an unloved gem, I think, in an album that has a lot of great songs. Don't get me wrong, but I think this one deserves a little more attention. And on a similar note, I have Girl You Want by Devo, just another catchy new wave pop song and just a banger of a song. Like there's a lot of really good catchy songs on that Devo album. I think they sort of hit their stride in keeping their sort of quirkiness from the first couple albums and bringing it into the pop realm and not going too far, which I think they do a bit later, and it's not always successful, but they really nailed it on this album. But Girl You Want's my favorite. Every time it starts, I'm just like, yeah, love that one. So that had to be my pick. And B-52s is next for number 16, and that is Give Me Back My Man. Another album that has a bunch of really catchy, great songs that really stand out. But this one just is a little something special. The vocal performances on it are great, and it's just such a different kind of song. It's a little bit of a weird subject matter. You don't really know who she's talking to, who's trying to take her man, and what the context is. It's a bit of a strange narrative, but it works very well. And there's just all these stakes. Like it's a catchy song, but there feels like there's stakes to this whole situation. And yeah, she's kind of desperate, and it really comes through. And I think it's just the B-52s are just such a charming group when they were in their when they really hit their stride. And I just love some of their best songs. Um, Next up, I have Dolly Parton, who actually, as of filming this, I guess is going through some health issues. So I hope that she is doing better soon. But the song I'm going to pick is Old Flames, Can't Hold a Candle to You. Now, I'm a pretty big Dolly fan. I don't think that's really come up much in my videos. Because I don't necessarily end up putting her albums on my list, but I just absolutely love her, and she has so many wonderful songs. And this is one of my favorite songs. She has two albums this year, and there are a lot of great songs on both of them. But I really love this one especially. It's just always stood out to me, just the storytelling in it, and her performance, her beautiful vocals, and the band is great too. So this had to make my list. Now, number 14 is a song that I mentioned in my albums video, and I messed up the title, which I think is pretty funny given what the title is, and that is I Don't Remember by Peter Gabriel. Just an absolutely infectious song. Like every time it starts, it's just like it's almost breathtaking how catchy it is and how infectious it is. And I can't believe that I um didn't remember the title properly when speaking about it before, but every time I hear it, it amps me up, just like a lot of these really catchy songs, just like Girl You Want and some of the ones I mentioned earlier. And it's just that big sound of the synths and like it's just it's just really great. Yeah. The number 13 is by Tom Waits, and my favorite song, long been my favorite song of Heart Attack and Vine, and that is Saving All My Love for You. I just love how it's like this almost classic Frank Sinatra kind of sounding song, but he is this character that is this complete ne'er-do-well kind of guy who just can't get out of his own way and always getting in trouble, but he loves this person and he's gonna love them forever. And he's knows it's not gonna work out from the sounds of things, or it hasn't worked out already, but he just can't give it up. And just the whole narrative, his vocal performance as this character works so well with the song. I've just always loved the song. And that one line where he says, "I'll probably get arrested when I'm in my grave" is just so, I don't know, there's just something about it I really love. And I've just always really loved this song. So this had to make my list. Number 12 is by the Rolling Stones, and it's She's So Cold, which was a song that was a big part of my university days, especially my first year of university. My friend group we all just really liked this song. We played it all the time. So it always gives me some good memories of that time period. And it's just a great, catchy pop rock song. Like, there's no denying it. I can never get sick of it. I could hear it a million times and always be happy to hear it. So She's So Cold is just outside the top 10. Which is hard. It was hard to come up with the proper order. I don't wouldn't hang my hat too much on the order of the songs, but this is a close approximation. Anyway, number 11 is by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, and that is Enola Gay. And I think that OMD has some absolutely fantastic pop singles throughout the 80s. Like, just great. I have yet to really love a lot of their albums, but their singles are just some of the best of that type, that style, and that era. And Enola Gay is no exception. It's just, I love everything about it. I love the synths, I love the vocals, I love the melody, and all the little flourishes throughout the song. It's just one I can never get sick of. I found it when I was quite young. They played their singles a lot on Much Music in the 80s weekends when I was a kid. And it wasn't even like, when you look back at it now, it was not even that much of a difference in time from when the song originally came out at that point. But it felt like a whole different era to me then. So it just always stood out. I just always liked their singles. So this is no different. Number 10, totally different genre and style, and that is He Stopped Loving Her Today by George Jones. Just one of the great, sad country story songs. Like, it's not even about George, it's about someone he knows, but he does it so effectively, and the emotion is just so it every time I hear it, it makes me choke up a little bit, and I've heard it 1,000 times, and I know exactly what it's about, and I know all the little twists and turns of the song, but it doesn't matter. It still gets me every time, and he just does a wonderful job with it, and it's just one of the great country songs. It's just immaculate, really. And number 9, in another direction, is by ABBA, and that is The Winner Takes It All, which is another very emotional song about a divorce and the breakdown of a relationship. Super Trooper was my favorite ABBA album when I was a kid. I was really into ABBA when I was like 9, 10-ish. And I really responded to that album especially, which is kind of funny to me now because it's one of their more adult kind of albums compared to the early ones. It's got a lot of subject matter on it that I wouldn't have related to at the time. But just, I guess something about the emotion of the album and the songs just really stood out to me at the time. And The Winner Takes It All is no exception. It's considered one of their great songs, I think, for good reason. So that's number 9. Number 8 is by Prince and When You Were Mine, which it's got a bit of it's a new wave sort of pop rock song, not something that he did a lot of, but I think he did a great job with this one. And it's got a bit of a twist of a narrative of there being sort of more than one person involved in this relationship and all that, and he pulls it off so well. And also Cyndi Lauper not copies it, covers it a few years later and does a great job with it as well. It's just a really great composition and a really great song. So it's number eight. Number nine, or number seven, is Ace of Spades by Motorhead, another song that was really big in my university days and one that we listened to a lot, and one it used to really kind of amp us up for a night out, and with good reason. It's just an absolutely great hard rock song, and it's that blend that Motorhead brought that was sort of like they weren't really punk, they weren't really metal, but they were sort of somewhere in between. And I don't know that they're a band that I can listen to a lot of songs by. I don't find that any of their albums necessarily do it for me totally, but this song is just the ultimate encapsulation of their sound, I think, and just always been my favorite song by them. So that is number seven. Number six is by Bruce Springsteen, and it's actually my favorite Bruce Springsteen song, period, not just of the year. And I know that's kind of a weird pick, but I can't deny it. It's absolutely my favorite song by him, and that is Drive All Night. I just love the slow burn build of this song. His vocal performance and the emotion he brings to the song is just perfect, and that sax solo is wonderful. And it's a long song, and it's a sprawling song, but I feel like it needs to be. I feel like it serves the song well, and over the years, it's just really raised in my estimation. I loved it right away. It's one that really stood out for me when I was first getting into Bruce Springsteen about 20 years ago, but it just has always been one that I have loved above all the others. And I know he has lots of great big songs, but I can't deny that Drive All Night is my favorite by him. But it's still only number six this year. It's a pretty stacked year. Number five is by the Cars, and I'm going to go with the basic pick here for Panorama, and that's Touch and Go. It's just perfect single, one that I think gets underrated in the grand scheme of things, but it is it's up there with all their other great singles. You should hear it more often. I think it's just as good as all the ones that you do hear, and I think it's got some great guitar playing and a great guitar solo by Elliot Easton. And yeah, I love Panorama, of course. I've said that many times. And I love a lot of the song or all the songs on it. And I probably could have picked almost any of them, but it has to be Touch and Go. If you're going to be honest about it, it's got to be Touch and Go. So, number four is by Kate Bush, who is an artist who I love a lot, but her album this year has some really great stuff on it, but then it has some other stuff that doesn't quite stick out as much for me, so it just missed my list. But I can't deny Breathing. That had to make my song list. It is an absolutely fantastic song, and it's just such an expertly handled song and such a totally different subject matter. It's sung from the perspective of a fetus in experiencing nuclear war inside the womb. Like it's a totally different take on anything. Like, I don't know if anyone else has ever made a song about that, or they certainly haven't done it to the level of success that Kate has. And it's just a beautiful, captivating song while being a very interesting and very unusual song. So it had to make the list. Number three is Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads, one of the all-time great Talking Heads songs and one of the all-time great songs of the 80s, really. This top three is pretty high up for me. So it was hard to put it only at number three, but it's probably one of the first songs by them I ever heard. I remember seeing the music video when I was a kid and being immediately drawn in by David Byrne's sort of quirky thing that he's doing, and it was immediately memorable. And it really even stood out at a time when it was a more old school kind of style of music video for me, seeing it for the first time. But the art, the iconic aspect of it was not lost on me, even as a kid. So yeah, it's just been a song that's always stood out. The album itself took me some time to get into the rest of it because I think I thought was expecting a lot of the rest of it to sound like this song. But all the same, this is a great song, a classic for a reason. Number two is Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie, a song that has long been pretty high up on my favorite David Bowie songs. I loved it throughout my younger years, and it would end up on a lot of mixes that I would make at different periods of time. And I don't even know that I realized I was doing it. I found a bunch of CDs I made years ago, and so many of them had Ashes to Ashes on it. I was like, well, obviously, I really love this song. And it's funny because Space Oddity made my 1969 list, and it's like a bit of a sequel song to that, to the subject matter, a totally different sounding song, of course. But it's funny that those two sort of bookends are favorites by me. So yeah, it's just a all-time classic Bowie song in an interesting period in his career where he's sort of transitioning from the Berlin era to his more pop era. And it's a super catchy song, and it's got that pop element, but it's also got that experimentation and influence of the previous era. So it's a cool submerging of the times. And number one, probably an unusual pick, but it has always been Vienna by Ultravox. I absolutely love this song. It's just such a unique song. It's got this marriage of like the synth pop and or not necessarily pop really, but synth sounds of the time and the art rock sort of thing going on, but there's all this classical influence into it too. It's got the violin, and it's got that beautiful piano, and every piece of it fits together to make this just soaring, wonderful song where every part of it is captivating. It doesn't really follow a typical song structure, like pop song structure, but it has every part of it has to be there, and every part of it is important and makes up that whole that creates this just fantastic song. One of my favorite songs of the 80s, I would say. And it builds to this just absolutely satisfying crescendo at the end. And everything about it captivates me every time I hear it. And I've known it for many years. Like it's been a favorite for a long time, but it never stops being exciting to hear it. So it had to be the number one song here for the year. But again, like I said, the order is not necessarily something I would hang my hat on. These are all wonderful songs. I love all these songs. They're all great. I always find putting songs in order more difficult than albums for whatever reason. So any order I come up with is open to debate other than maybe my number one. And so, yeah, but still, it's fun to try to put them in an order and try to prioritize them. Yeah. So, what are your favorite songs of 1980? There's so many options, so many great songs, and I'd love to see what you have to say. So, till next time, bye.